What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today we're going to be going over the patch notes for patch 6.2.2. Now, we're not going to be going over everything, obviously, but we are going to be focusing on the aspects of the patch that I believe to be the most important and will affect you guys real time. Now, this patch is being slated to be released on September 1st, which is great because that means they're going to be able to make good on their promise of weeks and not months because it's been 11 weeks since they made the announcement. Now, I think that a lot of people could be a little bit confused because people were expecting a patch 6.2.1 that was going to add flying and Warlords of Draenor and everything else. Well, we're not getting that. We're getting patch 6.2.2, which is going to have everything that patch 6.2.1 was going to have in it. And that brings me to obviously the first major big feature in this new patch is going to be flying in Warlords of Draenor, being that you do get the Draenor Pathfinder achievement. You have to get like revered with all 3 of the 10 and jungle reputations, collect 100 treasures, do all the quests. Like, think of like everything that you would use flying to do, and now you have to do all of it without flying in order to get flying. And so, I mean, obviously, by the way, wowhead.com has a really good tool to audit your character and tell if you're able to, how close you are to the Draenor Pathfinder achievement. And this will also unlock it for all of the characters on your account. And I mean, like, honestly, like, here's how, I mean, like, I look at it as like, all right, so here's the ground, here's where we are. This is right now, okay, patch comes out, here we are right now. Okay, it's like, so started from the bottom, now we're here. Not really a big deal, but I'm pretty glad that it's going to happen. Now, I've got a bunch of things that I got to talk about, and I'm going to be going through them real quick, so this video don't take too long. One thing that they're going to be doing is like, so like, let's say you got like 5 growth effects on yourself, and you on a mount, okay? It can only go up to 150% size. Okay, so you can't stand on the mailbox, get in the way of everybody. It's kind of a pain in the ass for annoying people like me, but probably better for the game, right? Also, another thing is a random Draenor heroic after you do the first one. Instead of giving nothing, it gives 50 garrison resources, so that's great. And also another thing is that if you want to ride the Alani mount, the Thundering Ruby Cloud Serpent or something like that, you used to need to be exalted with the August Celestials. Well, now you don't have to be. How about that? And another big thing, this is something that I've seen people crying about, is that you're no longer able to ninja kill the Darkmoon Rabbit and steal the pet. Damn it! I was doing that, but then they're shutting me down, and I'm honestly not surprised. They probably should do that, but still. Another thing is they added and fixed some shit in the garrisons, and that's pretty cool. Another thing, this is another big thing that's probably delayed the patch a little bit, is they're doing Mercenary Mode. Mercenary Mode is whenever you can play as the opposite faction, and so like if you're playing Alliance, right, and you're tired of winning, you can talk to an orc with a cardboard mask on and queue up his horde and lose. And so this is supposed to fix now I was about to say racial imbalance, but faction imbalance in Battlegrounds. We'll see if that's going to happen or not. It's supposed to only occur if there is an imbalance in play to begin with, and I think that they already have something. So like if you're playing human, you're able to buy a special trinket, and it's not really too big of a deal to switch back and forth, and so that's pretty good. Another thing is they're adding some cool shit in the Timewalker dungeons, and so 2 of the things that they're adding are 2 new mounts. They're adding a like, what is it? The Dragonhawk. It's a little red Dragonhawk. I'm doing the this is how it does, right? And also they're adding a skeleton horse. The Dragonhawk is for the Burning Crusade Timewalking dungeons, and the skeleton horse is for the Wrath of the Lich King Timewalking dungeons. I'm pretty sure you guys could have figured that out. Another thing is they're adding gear that you can buy, because we're literally, like, now we're even going farther back in time. It's more realistic immersion. You know, we were talking about that. Now that you're going to be able to get actual time-warped badges, and these time-warped badges, you're able to redeem them for, as I said, these 2 mounts. Apparently it costs a fuckload of these badges to get the mounts, but I mean, you guys know, I mean, every neckbeard's going to be doing it anyway. There's like a toy that you can get, turns you into an ash tongue, and you can also buy some gear. And so the way the gear works is I think it's the old gear, but it's just scaled up. And so like, let's say you're level 85 and you buy the gear, it scales up to level 85, but it doesn't scale with you. It's not like heirloom gear. So it's a nice thing for people who are leveling, but if you're leveling, you probably don't want to be wasting your time doing Timewalker dungeons. So that's a pretty cool thing. I'm excited for it. That's probably the biggest thing that I'm happy about in this patch, honestly. Another thing is that Ashran was beginning to be too appealing to players, and so Blizzard has attempted to fix this situation by adding a deserted mechanic to Ashran. So after you sit in an hour queue to get into Ashran and you realize that you joined a losing Ashran, you have to wait 5 minutes before leaving to sit in the queue for another hour, and if you don't, then you get a 10-minute debuff to where you can't sit in the queue for another hour, and so now it will take 5 extra minutes. And so that's, I don't really, I think it's stupid, but it doesn't really matter either way. They've also added weekly quests in order to let players catch up to their legendary ring, and I think that that's pretty good, especially with the Highmaul and Blackrock Foundry parts of the legendary ring mission. Also, apparently they spelled some kind of shit wrong on the Frostfire Ridge map. They fixed that. Probably cost us a raid tier, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And another thing I think that's pretty much this is also pretty important is that there was a boar in Tannin Jungle. I think his name was Steel Snout, and you were able to trap him, but you weren't supposed to be able to trap him. Well, they fixed that, and now you're not able to trap them. So that's good. And another thing that I guess like we'll talk about, I guess like the item changes, which is if you identify a baleful ring, a neck, a trinket, anything that can roll bonus armor or spirit, you can now you will always have bonus armor on it if you identify it as a tank, and it will always have spirit on it if you identify it as a healer. And so that's pretty cool. Another thing is that they buffed horde racials, and so pretty much like you guys are going to see a trend here. I'll read them out for you guys. The Blood Elf Silence, I think it's called Arcane Torrent, lasts for 3 seconds instead of 2, and the CD, the cooldown, is now 1.5 minutes instead of 2 minutes, so that's cool. The Goblin, the Rocket Jump and Barrage is now also 1.5 minutes. Orcs have a passive that reduces stuns by 15%. That passive is increased to 20%, and they're doing the same thing with Trolls. They have a passive that reduces movement impairing effects, like slows and stuff, by 15%, and now it reduces them by 20%. And Taurens, now I guess they got a little bit fatter because War Stomp now stuns for 3 seconds instead of 2, but maybe not because they can do it a little bit more. And so anyway, these are pretty much supposed to be, I guess, like probably to balance things out and make playing Horde more appealing to players in PvP. Without, it appears like these are pretty good changes because they don't really affect PvE very much. And last thing we really are going to talk about is class buffs and nerfs with pretty much a couple of different things. Now, Druids are getting a couple little changes. Thrash is now 10% more ferocious, and in this video, ferocious is synonymous with it does more damage. Okay, and feral druids are also 20% more vicious whenever they do in PvE, but PvP will remain unchanged. I think it's only 2 different abilities that are getting buffed by 20%. But it's still going to be a buff. They've been doing a lot of things, and I do want to clarify these patch notes because they are a little bit unclear. The PvP buff that they're going to be getting is not actually really going to PvP nerf that you would see them. You would think like, oh, it was increased 10% or 20% in PvE and 20% reduced in PvP. Actually, it's just increased 20% in PvP or in PvE, and it's pretty much the same in PvP. They said it's about a 1% nerf in PvP, just so you guys know what's going on. Another thing is that monks now, they do more damage, and Windwalker monks do even more damage because Fist of Fury does 20% more damage. That's pretty cool. I think monks suck, so it's not really going to affect me one way or another unless I level Tyresis, but we'll see about that. Next thing is Shadow Priest got buffed for PvE and not PvP, but they did buff Mind Flay in both PvP and PvE, and Lore actually did make a post to clarify that these buffs are not really going to affect PvE, or the nerf kind of whatever. They're just scaling damage up in PvE, if that's, I think you guys can pretty much understand that. Prot Warriors will also do a little bit more damage. Devastate, Shield Slam, and I think Revenge do 6% more damage. Not really a big deal. The terrible 4-piece bonus in Hellfire Citadel, where like whenever you get a Wild Strike crit, it reduces the cooldown on Recklessness by 25 seconds, and it's completely random. You have no control over it, and it's just another level of RNG. Well, guess what? They made it just a little bit better because now it reduces the cooldown by 30%, but the fun factor does remain unchanged. And so this is pretty much the patch notes for patch 6.2.2. A lot of big things happening. I think that the main things that we can really look at here is Flying and Wards of Draenor, Mercenary mode, and the time walking changes, and of course they you can't trap the boar in Tannin Jungle anymore. And so those 4 things I think really are going to make this patch really great. Apparently people are pissed off. I mean, not a surprise, right? But people are pissed off because the patch has taken too long. Apparently whenever they recoded Draenor to allow for more players in what do you call it? At the beginning, you guys remember at the beginning of the expansion, whenever a ton of people started playing and you couldn't get on the servers for like 8 hours, you had to sit in an 8-hour queue. Well, whenever they made the change to allow more people onto the servers, it fucked up Flying, and they had to spend a lot more time doing that than they thought they would. And so that's pretty much why it took so long. It wasn't because they were adding this new stuff. I mean, of course, they could be lying to us, but why would they ever do that? But that's what they said, and so hopefully that's true, and hopefully we'll get it on September 1st, and again making good on their weeks and not months promise with 11 weeks. And so anyway, guys, I hope that you're happy, and I'm pretty excited not for that bonus though, not for that tier bonus. But everything else I'm pretty excited about. And well, the other class, but I would wish they'd nerf all the other classes except for warriors and not let anybody play them except for me. But anyway, that's pretty much all I got. I wanted to do a quick video, tell you guys what to expect, what's going on, and not really a whole lot you can really do to prepare for this, but now you know. And so anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I got. Thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.